happen. We got to. I didn't think this was going to happen. You know what I mean? This seemed like the podcast that would never exist.
Oh my God. I mean, literally like the time before I'm like up, a meeting popped up. And then last week, like 30 minutes ready to go. I'm like, and then my boss calls me into a meeting. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like this guy's
no
going to be
problem.
like, yeah, I don't reschedule twice. We're not doing this.
No, but I'll reschedule. If you want to cancel it right now and reschedule it till next week, I would do that as well. But no, this is great.
You're way too kind. Maybe a little too kind.
Yeah, I probably am.
Are you in Jersey, New York? Where are you at?
I'm in New York, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I grew up in Jersey, like, what was it, Morris County, like right outside Manhattan. And then I moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, because it's so much more warm out here, and I can't take the winters this time of year.
Yeah, and I would assume, I don't know much about Arizona, but I would assume Scottsdale's probably cheaper in like an easier place to live than Jersey is. You know what I mean? You get more for your money.
It's warm. There's a lot to do here. I mean, we don't have the Yankees, but you know, Diamondbacks are like the worst team in baseball. We do have the Suns and the Cardinals. You guys are stuck with the Giants and the Jets, so it evens out.
Yeah, I've been to that place, the Diamondback Stadium, years ago. Man, whatever. I used to watch wrestling a lot, and my friend never ever stopped, which is fine. Whatever. Anyways, a couple years ago, he was like, "Hey, man, the Royal Rumble is in Phoenix. You want to go?" And I was like, "Sure, dude. That's great." And anyways, we went. It was awesome.
Dude, I was there too. I actually have a chair. It's like the chair I use in my office.
You're on the floor, huh?
Yeah. One of the ringside chairs.
Were you ringside? Like, what row were you?
I was like 10 rows behind, but it was like right where like the ringside area was near the ring. It was probably the closest I've ever sat at an event. It was actually pretty cool. When you see that stuff up close, it's like, okay, like I could see why you could be into this.
Yeah. No, I get being into it regardless. When me and my friend, I think we were in like, whatever, section 100, we're up a little bit. But we kept thinking, we were like, oh, the floor seems real rough if you're not in the first like few rows. Because if you're in row 20, buddy, you can't see anything that happens outside of the ring. You don't know what the hell's going on.
Nope. I mean, you may as well just watch it on TV at that point.
Yeah.
It is such a different dynamic watching that stuff up close and personal. Like going to a UFC event ringside, I'm sure, is just unbelievable compared to watching it on TV. Are you a big UFC guy? I noticed that you had like a UFC bit that you did on YouTube. I don't know if it was for UFC or making fun of UFC.
I'm not a UFC guy.
Okay.
And it might be, I swear to God, at this point in time, not only might I be the last man on earth that's not into it, I might be the last human person alive that's not into it.
So what's your reasoning then?
Well, I'm not going to like it just because everybody else does. I can't. Right. I just can't. I find it. Here's the thing. Before I even say anything, I very much respect any single person who would do that. Anybody that trains and this is their life, I respect the hell of that. It's craziness. I dislike the culture around it. I dislike the idea that like the greatest thing we can ever do with our lives is watch two barefoot people in board shorts kick each other in the fucking mouth. I hate graphic tees. I don't like a lot of it, man. There's so much of it I don't like. But again, the fighters themselves respect the hell out of that.
Oh my God, you have to. What they put their bodies through, just the training alone leading up to the fight, and then they just get their asses kicked, whether they win or lose. You're getting your ass kicked in that ring.
Real quick, to bring it back to wrestling real quick, you sounded like that guy when you said what they put their bodies through. Remember that clip of the guy who was like, it's still real to me, damn it.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God.
Right before he went into that, he was like, I just want to thank you guys for what you do to your bodies. It's just a funny video.
I mean, literally like because I got into play-by-play commentary in school, and half of my stuff comes from the wrestling commentary. What they say, like, oh my God, watch out. It all comes from that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But so you're a big UFC guy.
I'm a casual fan. I watch the pay-per-views. I don't watch every single fight night and keep up with every single fighter, but I enjoy the fights. Absolutely. I enjoy the build-up. I enjoy the intensity of it. They promote the hell out of it. They market it probably better than any other sport today. But I'm with you. There are some people, including Dana White, some things I disagree with him on as well. You know, like I think maybe they could be a little too brash. Respect the hell out of what they've accomplished, though, because
Yeah,
they're
it's
doing something
wild.
no
I
one else
mean,
has done.
totally. I remember how, I mean, it's been so many years now, but like there was one point in time where that was such, it was almost like before ECW blew up. It was just two crazy people fighting in some kind of cage. I remember seeing, there was no weight classes.
Nope.
There was just like, I saw this dude. I don't remember his name. I don't remember the other guy's name. He was just like a big trucker looking guy who's fighting a tiny man. The trucker guy's fight style was brawler.
Yep.
The other dude knew Muay Thai. And you're like, the trucker's going to beat like, there's just no. Little guy runs at him. Trucker smokes this guy in the face, blows his face up, and he dies. He didn't die, but I mean, he's,
Right.
So there's not even any part of that was like, they would never do anything like that again. Like it would never even be, it wouldn't even happen. So even just to think of where it was at one point in time to what it is now, it's craziness.
I mean, that's almost illegal now. Like you
I
have to
think
be
it would be
within like
illegal.
10, 15 pounds of one another, at very least at the heavyweight division. Like you couldn't put a featherweight 145, 155 against someone who's 175 now.
Dude, I think this was legitimately like 150 versus 220. This guy, it was like a guy, I don't even know if he was a fighter, man. I think they just like found him at a fucking Texas Roadhouse and they go, dude, do you want to just kill a man today? And he goes, fuck it. And he jumped into a ring and just murdered a guy.
I wonder if you had to like sign a waiver or anything like that. Just like, there's a good chance you're not coming out of this, buddy, but we'll let you do it if you sign this and don't blame us.
Yeah, maybe. At the time, too, they probably just went, look, dude, we'll give you $1,000. And somebody's like, yeah, I know Muay Thai. There's no way I can lose to this guy. And they go, well, you're wrong. This man is bigger than any single person that you've ever probably fought ever.
Oh my God. And that's the thing with like WWE. You'll put someone like the Big Show up against like some midget and you're like, how am I supposed to get into this? Exactly. Yeah, they fought at WrestleMania one year. And Floyd Mayweather's obviously the greatest boxer of all time, the greatest lightweight of all time, I guess, even though he ducks and dodges everyone. But, he's undefeated, and I guess it worked. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but in a real life fight, the Big Show, not that who cares? This isn't even
right.
But the Big Show would murder Floyd. Like he'd murder him. There's just no, you cannot. He's massive.
Like some people use the term murder as in just like, oh, he's gonna crush him. Like no, he'd kill him.
Yeah,
in the ring, he'd kill him. So I'm very pumped to talk to you today. For those of you that don't know, Nathan Mcintosh, New York City comedian. You can catch him. You consistently perform all over the place, right? Comedy Cellar, everywhere alike.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued because I've done a few open mic nights myself. Nothing special,
okay.
And by a few I mean 3. I think that's the plural noun for a few, 3.
Technical definition, yeah, I think so.
But like I'm very intrigued to learn of how you got your start and like how you kind of form and kind of structure your jokes. Not only from like real life experiences, but just by the way you view things, the way you view the world, just from talking right there about UFC and WWE a little bit. Like you definitely have a unique take on things. So I'm intrigued to learn a little bit about your backstory, where you grew up and how you kind of formed your comedy or how you're inspired by your comedic viewpoints on the world.
Oh man. God. Well, first of all, I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada.
Yeah.
Do you know about it? I mean, a lot of people don't.
I've heard of it.
Okay, good. There you go.
I have heard.
But I mean, some people haven't. Legitimately, I'll say Nova Scotia to people, and they're like, Norway. They have no idea.
Yeah.
What it is, where it is. I mean, I always liked stand up as a kid. I just thought it's a cool thing, and I don't know, man. As far as like where I get stuff, you just sort of go, I don't know. You walk around and you go, this seems fucking stupid. and then you talk about it with people in front of, in groups, and some of those people laugh and other people will be like, I don't agree. And then you continue on, like the amount of people, just real quick to go back to UFC, the amount of people I've said, like, I don't think I like UFC, that the number of people who were against it years ago has shrunk now to, I swear to God, me. It's me and like that little guy whose face was shattered who knew Muay Thai. He probably isn't a fan anymore once he got demolished by a truck driver, It's me and that guy. It's just me and him, but I can't, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Like it because everybody else does? Hey, we're all going here, so I can't do it. And my stupid makeup doesn't fucking allow me to do it. I don't like the goddamn Avengers movies either. I don't care if they somehow get my money and I don't even pay. I don't care. I don't care that they made $1 trillion. A lot of them aren't good. Can we grow up? A lot of these aren't good. Fuck. I can't do it. I'm sorry to yell.
That's interesting. A lot of people love the MCU universe. What's it for you? I literally did not even entertain the idea of watching those movies until a year ago. My roommates made me watch all of them in order, and I'm like, okay, this isn't half bad. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong with Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch, all these A-list actors. Like they did a great job, and obviously the writers can do whatever the hell they want with that because they're superheroes, and all of this nonsensical, non-real life stuff happens. But it's entertaining. But what about it did you not like?
They are. They are entertaining, I suppose. Yes, you're watching computers flash at you.
Yeah.
For almost 3 hours. There's and is there acting in it? Sure. There are actors in front of screens.
Yeah.
Computers are making things happen around them. Now, some of them, sure, but at some point in time you go, is this not just the same movie 900 times? Is this just not, okay, you got Iron Man doing blah, blah, blah. Great. Then you got a Wasp doing a thing.
Right.
Okay. And then you got Captain America. And then you go, they did it, man. They you know how people sometimes used to make fun of like the Rocky movies?
Oh, yeah.
And they go, it's the same movie again and again and again. First of all, whatever. I guess people can fight me on this. It's not. I get how you could say it though. But also Rocky made 6 movies. We're up to 900. How many Marvel movies are there?
Right.
It's like the only movie that's been made in the last fucking 10 years.
Oh my God.
And also the real quick, and this is real stupid. I know I'm a comedian. I hate jokes, man. I hate jokes. I hate jokes for the sake of jokes. This is really what I have a problem with in these movies. And the world is going to explode, okay? Something is going to take out everything you know and love. Your mother is going to turn to sand, right? And then there's a joke. And you go, why? Why? Take it seriously. And because of that, because those movies do so well, every other movie goes, fuck, we need jokes. So now there's jokes in every single movie, man. That's my real issue. Every movie has become these movies. Does that make sense?
At the same time, like, you need comic relief, right? And
No.
granted, 9 times out of 10, it's bad.
Yep.
You need comic relief.
No, I disagree. You don't need it. You don't need it consistently. You don't need it in every single thing. And you definitely don't like other movies that start putting it into their thing. That's truly where it comes from me. Because these movies do so well, every other movie, doesn't matter what it is. This is a drama about a lawyer with AIDS. His life. The poster would even say there was nothing funny about his life. He was an AIDS lawyer. 6 minutes in, joke. He's going to get, pills for fucking HIV. And as he's getting them, he's like, oh, these look like Flintstone vitamins. Laugh. You go, God damn it, man. Can anybody take anything seriously ever again?
So I take it you're probably not a big fan of the laugh tracks and all the sitcoms.
Well, they're their own deal, but sure, not necessarily. But I mean, sitcoms are their own complete thing that existed prior to the great marveling, I guess you could call it, you know?
So what kind of turned you on to comedy then? Was it specific comedians, or was it because, like you said, you don't like jokes, so like watching a sitcom and a corny joke probably didn't do it for you? What was it?
I do like jokes, but you know what I mean? But anyway, sometimes I don't. But uh I mean my mom really liked stand up, so it was always kind of on in the house when I was growing up. Um I just thought it was really cool. I just like the idea of somebody putting some ideas together and saying them to people to make them laugh. I always just thought it was a really cool thing. And there's some sitcoms I like. Again, it's just like, how can anybody take anything seriously in some of these movies? Nothing. There's not one thing taken seriously.
I'm trying to think of something that I feel like you would really, really like a movie like The Irishman. Granted, it's like 4 hours long, but that's something where like I feel like they
Loved it.
didn't have too many comic relief moments, but there were like a few where it's like, okay, that made sense. I'm glad that they tied that in.
It made sense. They didn't, and a lot of movies do this or used to. They didn't jam it in to jam it in. It wasn't, the script wasn't punched up by the writers of Caddyshack 2, where they just go, hey, we wrote a thing, send it to the joke people. They go, no, this is funny because it is, and this is, you know what I mean? I really liked The Irishman. I saw it in theaters in New York, in like a theater. They played it on Broadway. I liked it a lot, and I listened to people talk about it, and everybody's like, it's too long, it's boring, it's this, it's that. I go, man, a lot of people's brains have been melted by Marvel movies, like melted. You can't watch anything like, where's the explosions? Why isn't Robert De Niro? Where's his fucking shield? Where's his goddamn ray eyes? And you go, that's not what this one is, man.
Are you a big film guy? Like a film
Sure.
buff, as they say?
No. Do I like movies? Yes.
You appreciate movies though when they're good.
I think so. I appreciate the ones that I think are good. Yes. Because there's somebody that there's millions of people that completely disagree with me and would say the Marvel movies are great cinema. And to you, I say, sure, dude. I remember playing Super Nintendo games, and this was a fun time. You know what I mean? I get it. I've been there. I like being covered in Doritos with a fucking controller in my hand. I understand. I get it. But yeah, I don't even remember why I started that sentence.
Well, the one thing I saw, I was looking at a few of your YouTube clips before we came on, and the one that intrigued me, and like literally right after he said it, I'm like, he hit that right on the nail, was saying that the Stones were better than the Beatles. All you got to do is to get in an argument with a white guy is that, the Beatles suck. And I'm like, yep, I felt that definitely. Because like as a music guy, as a music enthusiast, it's like you can't say that the Beatles are bad. You have to put them on a pedestal for people to continue to have a conversation with you because they're looked at and revered as the greatest rock band of all time.
Yeah, and you're not a Beatles guy.
I'm not. I appreciate their music. Obviously, they're the reason why there's so many great bands today because people were inspired by the Beatles, or those people were inspired by people that were inspired by the Beatles. But it's not a turn on for me.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it just doesn't click with me. There's a few songs that I think are really, really good, but I don't know. I don't think even the Stones, honestly, don't connect with me that well. I'll put that out there too.
Yeah, I'll start fights everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I do personally. I like the Stones more than the Beatles. I think I agree with you that the Beatles, for sure. Obviously, I'm not a psychotic monster. Have some good songs. I like a lot of their stuff individually, personally. I like a lot of Lennon stuff, a lot of just by themselves. But I think I don't want to bring this back to Marvel, but back to Marvel. Because this band, and it's not their fault, because this band became the biggest thing in the world, nobody questions it. People will, dude, you meet people who don't know anything about the Beatles, okay? And they're wearing a Let It Be t-shirt. And you go, hey, do you like, and they go, come on, man. They're the best. Why are they the best? You don't even listen to them. You're fucking 19 years old. if your grandparents like them, I get it. They were there. You just got here, and you're like, it's the greatest band. Why? Have some answers, for fuck's sake. Like, even when, like, I do that joke, and I talk about how in it, you know, and the only reason I compare those two is because they've been compared for years. I go, if you bought 2 toasters in the 60s and one stopped, the other one that's still out there is the better toaster. Just basically saying that the Beatles stopped years and years ago. The fucking Stones are still out here. People have messaged me countless times and said, oh, dude, well, you know, 2 of the Beatles died, right? So, like, it's hard to keep going. And you go, this cocksucker is supposed to be a Beatles fan. Does this person I'm talking to think the Beatles stopped being a band when Lennon was shot in 1980? Do they think that that's what stopped the Beatles? So they don't know anything about the fucking band that they're defending with me. You know what I mean?
I mean, it could be so subjective. It's just like comedy. Like, you can like whoever the hell you want to like and have an opinion on it. But people, like you said, like a 19-year-old kid is told, like, okay, the Beatles are the greatest band of all time. They're looked at as one of the greatest bands of all time, which means I got to say they're the greatest band of all time, right? Like, that was the perfect analogy to make the 2 toasters. Like, are you going to go with the toaster that, you know, in the 1960 died out after like 5 years? Or are you going to go with the toaster that's still out there today, still
and
plugging away, making toast?
They broke up. One wasn't murdered, and then they stopped. They stopped being a band. And you'd think that somebody who likes the Beatles, apparently the people that would message me, would at least know the history of their favorite band, the one that they're fucking beating off into the wind to, the one that they got the acoustic album, the brand new remastered album, the underwater, just found it, water, you know, super water album, the one that they did in space that nobody told anybody about. Like, every 2 years there's a new release of every Beatles song again and again and again. You go, okay, man, great. You love all this. I understand. But if you do know something about them, at the very least, instead of just being like, they're the biggest, they're the best, that's it, I'm done. No more thoughts for me. Every year when they sing that John Lennon song at New Year's Eve, God, I get rock hard and I just stare at the sky.
If anything, it's just an argument saver. It's like the Beatles are the greatest band of all time, and you could be like, you know what? Yeah, sure, the Beatles are the greatest band of all time. Why not? I'm not going to get into it.
I argue.
Do you honestly believe that Kanye is better than the Beatles?
Yeah, personally, yeah. But that is 100% a personal thing.
Yeah.
That is solely me saying, would I rather listen to Kanye or the Beatles? Kanye. Me, personally. Do I think musically they got instruments and shit. No, you know what I mean? It then becomes like but that is a full-on personal deal. Would I rather I don't know, eat a spicy chicken sandwich than a kale salad? That was a terrible analogy, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I think. But yeah, again, that's just a personal deal.
Oh my God. I mean, did you get a lot of comments for that? A lot of people DMing you being like, what the hell?
I still, like, once a week, I get an email from somebody who's like, fuck you, dude. Which just makes me laugh, because I get it. You know, it's your thing. You like these people. But the ones that do make me really laugh are the ones that are like, you don't even know that they're dead. I go, I do. And I also know that they stopped before 2 died. But do you know? It also bothers me that, like, this is just a stupid thing. Most Beatles fans make fun of Ringo. Okay? Ringo, what an idiot. Oh, God. John Lennon made a joke about how he's not even the best drummer of the Beatles. So me, somebody that was born in 1998, is going to keep making fun of him for the rest of time. Ringo, first of all, if you like the Beatles, Ringo was in the Beatles. He was there, dude. So, like, at least respect him for that goddamn reason. You like them, he's there. And if you want to go through the whole thing of like, yeah, but he's not even the better. Okay, you don't like him the best. Great. You know, there's people that don't like fucking, what that his name? Joey Fatone? Is that from NSYNC or whatever the fuck? Is that his name?
I have no idea.
Sure, whatever, right? People be like, I'd rather.
the only one I know out of that group.
Who?
Justin Timberlake. And that's
Well, of
only
course,
because he's
yeah.
Justin Timberlake.
Exactly. So there'd be a lot of people that'd be like, as I'm growing up, I like NSYNC. Well, personally, I just like to fucking blow Justin Timberlake. The other people I don't even know. But you go, okay, great. The other guy was still there though, so he's at least in the position of like he knows this guy, whatever. So Ringo has been married to the same woman for like 38 fucking years. Give the guy some goddamn respect. He's out there petting horses and shit, talking to plants. Like, what's wrong with everybody?
I mean, granted, yeah, Ringo, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George, what was his last name?
Harrison.
George Harrison, thank you. 4 megastars in their own right. Like, if the Stones broke up way back then, I don't think you'd be looking at all of them. Maybe Keith Richards along with Mick Jagger, but the rest of them you wouldn't look at as megastars. Like, they were 4 legit megastar musicians formulated into one band. So that when they broke up, it was like kind of no big deal for them. It was a big deal for their fans, but it wasn't a big deal for them.
Yeah, they all continued on. They all did a whole bunch of shit. Yeah. But anyways, to your point where you're like, it's an argument saver, I've always had that argument with people. I told a guy one time, man, at a party, just because I go, dude, Milli Vanilli is better than the Beatles, man. And this guy, oof. Because he was so, I don't even really care, but they were, they're having that whole thing of like, oh, obviously the Beatles are the best. And I got this dumb thing where I'm like, I can listen to that once, fine. Twice, sure. This is not even about me. I'm here, but like, whatever. Third time, when everybody's like, the Beatles are the best, I go, I don't think they are, man. Like, and anyways, this guy was really mad at me. He got like instantly mad. Not like there was no debate. Or even like, hey, why not? He was very angry. So I just was like, dude, fucking Milli Vanilli, their 2 big songs are better than the Beatles' whole goddamn catalog. I can't even do this. And he's like, they don't even sing. I don't care. The 2 guys in a wheelchair then that sang those songs, they're better than the Beatles ever were, dude. And again, personally, there's 2 Milli Vanilli songs that I would rather listen to than most of the Beatles catalog. That's just me. I'm just a guy who would eat a spicy chicken sandwich probably over a kale salad, but I mean, you know what I mean? That's me.
Right. I mean, if you're a poet, you love the Beatles. I mean, they just speak poetry in their lyrics, right? Where like there's like a Cardi B song, it's a good bop. It's like I like that song better.
Yeah, for sure.
That's hilarious. When did you to kind of shift gears? What was the first time you ever did stand up? Just smooth transition.
No, I was gonna switch gears because I was like, oh, dude, yeah, I also just fucking ramble and yell things, so I apologize. I mean, I was 19. Well, I guess when I was 16, man, I was in this drama class in high school, and the teacher said, okay, I want you guys to put together projects to, show the class, whatever. And she gave us a list of things we could do. We could write a play. We could perform a dance. We could do some, and stand-up was on there. And I'd always wanted to do stand-up, so I wrote some stand-up jokes. So I go into my drama class, and there's the teacher and maybe like 15 kids and me. And she goes, okay, give me your notes so that I can go over them while you're doing your thing. So I give her my jokes, and I'm in front of 15 people and my teacher, and I start doing stand-up. I'm 16. I don't know what this is. I'm doing, and I forget lines. I forget like punchlines. I forget setups. So I'm like, oh man, I was in the store, and I'd be like, I just pause, and then she would tell me what the next line was. So I'd say it. Everybody's already heard it. Dude, basically it was miserable experience. I fully bombed while my teacher read my jokes that I then repeated to about 15 people in a drama class. That was the first time I ever did stand-up.
I mean, you learn. I feel like you bombed like your first 100 times anyway, so it's like, whatever.
That was brutal. I at that time I was like, I'll never do stand-up, man. It's too hard. When I was 16, like everything's very definite. Everything is very like,
my life's over.
Yeah, my life's over. I go, stand-up's done. I'll never do that again. And then I was like, oh, I'll just be an actor. Equally as dumb a thought at 16, as if that's not incredibly hard to do as well,
Oh, insanely harder. I'd say. I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I say that out loud, I don't know.
They're both, yeah, they're both very hard things to do. I'd say, whatever. Thinking of it currently, it might be harder to be an actor because, for the most part, stand-up you can do basically anytime. Like if
Right.
you live in a city, if you live anywhere really where they got open mics and stuff, you can just go and sign up and you can do it that night. Is it going to be good? No, maybe. Acting, I guess there's acting classes. You can probably do stand-up quicker at a lower level than you can acting. Because acting, you still need like groups. You need, I don't know.
You need to bounce off of other people. And like in comedy, like 10 people could like what you're doing, 50 people don't like what you're doing, or like vice versa, you know, like you're probably someone's favorite comedian out there and you're probably someone's least favorite comedian out there. Where like an actor, like you have to pull off an exact role, right? Where a director's like, he doesn't have it. He's not going to fit this role, you know?
And you have to also like get hired to do that role. Whereas again, stand-up, you can go down to Bonefish Grill on a night where they're doing comedy in the corner and you write your name down and now you're on stage. You've never done it. You got a whole bunch of jokes about whatever and you're just doing it now. I don't know that I don't think you can do that as an, you know what I mean? Do they do that in that type of, I know so little about so many things, but I feel it'd be easier to start comedy than it would be acting and easier to do it repeatedly.
Right, because you alone can attest to this. You're working on your own material, and you find out live on stage if it's going to work or not. Where like acting, like you could feel great about it, but then someone's like, "Nah, you're not cut out for this. Don't do it." And then it's their say at the end of the day. You don't get the part. When was the first time you felt like you really hit doing like open mics? Because open mics are like all over the place. Half the people aren't even paying attention.
Oh, half the people are murderers. Half the people are complete career criminals. I mean, when I say anybody can sign up, I mean, anybody can sign up. There are no buffers. There's nobody. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but there's no anything. There's no qualifications. There's no anything.
There's no rules, right?
There's no rules.
No
I saw a guy
holds
one time. Pretty sure he was homeless. He was at least like crazy.
I believe
he went up in like a literal garbage bag and he talked about killing people. Like he wanted to murder people. And it's like interesting to be in the room for it, but you're also going nowhere else, man. Like this is crazy. But again, if you walk into a place and you go, I want to do this open mic, you are looked at as a legitimate human and you're given the chance to do it. It's just, but I don't know, I used to do so many open mics, dude. And God, so many people, so many crazy things that you, whatever. But I guess the very first time that I kind of thought, oh man, I could like do this, I guess. It's so dumb. I used to do this guy had an open mic that was after a show, okay, in this restaurant in Toronto. So he would do the whole show, and then he would put up like 3 or 4 people at the end of the show. People are filing out.
Right.
People are leaving. Like there's a few people left, but that's when he would put on people to try them out for the other show. So I did that a few times, and I bombed miserably at this place. I think it's on whatever. This place called Big Mama's Boy in Toronto. This pizza restaurant. And bombed like so horrifically bad. You're just like, people are looking at you like, God damn it, man, what are you even doing here? Like you ruined my whole life. I just saw a good show and now I'm listening to you talk about whatever. Like you saw, like the look in people's eyes, brutal. But I kept going back and I started to bomb less. And then finally I did well enough that the guy that booked it, he goes, hey man, I'm going to put you on the regular show. So, and it's so small now but so he's like, okay, in 2 weeks, you're going to be on the regular show. So I go back, my name's on the chalkboard and I'm on the regular lineup and I got $10 and I was like, oh man, I could do this. I worked up from horrifically bombing in front of people that hated my life. And I basically rode the streetcar home wanting to do literal heroin. I would just like put my head on the glass and think, man, this is so horrible. Why would I do this to my life? To then being paid $10 and on the regular thing. So long story short, that $10 is like the best money I made in comedy ever, because it was like the first kind of time that somebody went, hey dude, and it's, $10 is like, it's not a lot of money, but that was the first time that I thought, oh shit, I could like keep doing this, I guess.
It was like your baptism as a comedian. It's like, oh, like now I'm finally accepted into doing this, as opposed to being one of those guys that gets on stage and talks about murdering people and it just doesn't hit. It's like, well, thanks for exposing yourself, dude. Thank you so much. We had a guy who was talking about how he got like 80 blowjobs in Vegas, and this was the first time we were doing open mic, and we went up right before or right after he did, and I turned to my buddy, I'm like, we could literally say anything and they'll laugh over this. Like we're good, like nothing to be nervous about.
Did they laugh at that? And what were the stories? Did he get 8? Like how many days? How many days did it take him to get 80? He
said the
crazy.
weekend. So he went to Vegas for the weekend, and he's like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but I'll tell you anyway. And then literally said it exactly how I said it to you right there. Like no punchline, nothing, just straight. I got 80 blowjobs, started laughing hysterically to himself, just cackling in front of the microphone. And you could legitimately hear the DJ from across the street at the restaurant across the street. That's how much white noise there was in that bar that night. Granted, like half the people aren't paying attention anyway, but like, come on, dude, like pick it up. I think he was laughing and he looked up and realized no one was laughing and was like, oh shit, that was my best joke. Like I still got 5 minutes left to spare. What am I going to do?
Well, if you just put that, you hear, did he say like 80 blowjobs or just 80?
No, he just said 80 blowjobs.
Okay. So here we are. So, okay. You're sitting there, you're a regular member of society and you go 80. Now do you think right, as a human man, do you think you can you get hard and come 80 times in a week?
I think you'd go to the hospital. At very least.
You'd be, dude, you'd have no more, you'd be dehydrated. Your dick is mush. Your brain is like, you're not walking. You're fucked. I don't think that's even physically possible. But if it was, this is where the story would, because this guy goes, I got 80 blowjobs. And you're like, hey, man, you don't believe me? I get it, but I swear to you. And here's all of the things that happen when that happens to you. And you can do something with that, because it's impossible. It doesn't even make sense. It's completely impossible. But
right. So like they're already tuned out because it's like, okay, you're lying. Like we're not going to invest into what you.
It's also one of those things. It just seems like I haven't seen this guy, but it just seems like one of those dumb dick things that some douche would say to be like, I fuck. You know what I mean? Like just a dumb dude. I had a threesome last night. Yeah, man, it was. And you go, okay, what's the
right?
Nah, that's it, dude. I fuck, dude.
I mean, I feel like you have to have a really well-structured sex joke in order for it to hit today, because it has been so overused by people who want to pursue stand-up.
Again, I would love to hear the story of the guy who got blown 80 times in a weekend and what that did to his life. Do you need crutches? Like, do you ever come again? Do you even want head anymore? I mean, 80 times in 2 days that's all you're doing. You're just laying there and the door just keeps swinging open. I guess you do 40 a day, or do you try to like front load it and get like 60 so that Sunday is more casual? You know what I mean? Like, it's complete insanity. 80 different women? Is it all, who are these people? Did you spend $25,000? Like, what? All of this I'm interested in, but just the guy goes on stage and is like, yeah, I got blown a lot. You go, okay, man, that sucks.
It's like he had no script too. It's just like, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to say it. It's like some people were probably honestly scared. Like 80? Like, are you okay?
Scared.
Going through a tough breakup? Are you, I don't know.
Yeah, you all right, dude?
Emotionally?
Dude, the worst thing I've ever heard, and also the best, because I'll never forget it in my life. I was doing this comedy competition, okay? Everybody's doing 5 minutes, and if you win the competition, you get $500, something like that. This guy goes on stage, man, and he talks about how he's like the Sears catalog. You know, you guys never had that, right? Or did you? So the Sears catalog is like, you know, like a Walmart catalog. It's the same deal. This guy's like, I'm at my friend's house. I'm looking at this catalog, and he goes, I get to the lingerie section, you know, and he goes, so I want to beat off. The crowd's like, what? And he goes, yeah, but I'm at my friend's house, and I don't want to be rude, right? So he's like, I get a Tupperware container, and I come into that. Okay, this is a very real thing that I saw a man do, and the crowd is like shocked. They're going, ugh, like that's just disgusting. You're at your friend's house and you see women in bras in a magazine, and you beat like you're disgusting. And then he goes, it's right here, and he reaches into his jacket, and he takes out a Tupperware container with something in it. Okay, I don't know what, something that resembled what, you know, and he puts it on the stool. The crowd is like almost, they're like, God, like just disgusted with this man. And then he goes, I bet you don't think I'll drink that.
No.
Dude. And the crowd is like, this guy takes the Tupperware container, dude, opens it up, drinks whatever the hell this is, okay? And then goes, good night. This was the set. And he leaves to like comedic throwing up. Like dude, the noises these people were making was just disgusting. People are revolted by this criminal. And the host has to go on after him, and the host just gets to the mic and he goes, Jesus Christ.
You got to break the tension.
The host was so shocked. I've never seen that. I never saw that guy again after that. I never saw him before that. He just signed up for this competition and was in it, and I guess he used, like, dude, that was his set, man. I don't know. And I kind of think there's a part of me that thinks he did this as, like, there's some people that have, like, exhibitionism, like he used this as a way to drink his own cum in front of a group of people, because it's going to be hard to get people to watch you do that in any other, you know what I mean? You can't walk into a McDonald's and be like, hear ye, everyone, I'm going to drink, like, you know what I mean? So he's like, it's kind of ingenious, really. He goes, stand up, man. He's like, look, I got this weird fetish. I want to drink my own stuff in front of people, but everybody finds it horrific. Comedy, you can do anything you want there. And that was his set, dude. And he walked straight out. He lost the competition, by the way. But it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in most disgusting, pretty memorable fucking thing I've seen in stand-up.
That's one of those things where it's like, if it hits, you're golden. But if it bombs, you can't show your face ever again. You're moving to Alaska. Like, see you later.
Oh man, for the type of, I don't know where that would have hit. Like, I don't know what type of humans need to be in front of that, but if that would have hit, woof, I would tell it like, guys, you don't even, like, I saw arguably the greatest comedian ever. Like, how did this man make this work? That'd be the type of thing you'd have to study. You'd have to sit down and go, wow. But it didn't. It hit in the way of, people were unbelievably disgusted with everything they saw and wanted to leave.
Like, if that hit, you would have thought that would have gone viral. Like, that would have made that guy's career.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he never taped that, and I guess he didn't put it out. He never did stand-up again, I don't believe. I lived in Toronto for years after that. Like I said, I never saw that guy before or after. He's just a mythic man who finds ways to drink his own cum in front of strangers. I mean, it's truly remarkable.
You don't remember the name?
No. I wish. I really wish. I'll just never forget that whole thing, man. He took it out. He put it, like, the whole setup and everything. People were just like, like losing it.
Now, was it like a white substance? Like, could it legitimately have been his jizz?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was not like, oh, that's clearly not. It was, the crowd is like, that could be what he says it is. That's it was the disgusting word. It was viscous. It was what dude, it looked you know what, man? It was cum. There's no way it wasn't this man's own cum. This man came into a Tupperware container, made up the whole stupid, elaborate story of looking at a fucking catalog and at his friend's house. He should have just walked on stage and goes, "Hi guys, I'm not a comedian. I'm going to lose this competition because I'm not even in it. I'm going to drink my own cum in front of you. Is that cool?" I was like, "No," and then he does it anyway. Laughs to himself on his drive home.
I think the closest thing, we had the 80 blowjobs guy, and then there was another guy that night that actually won the competition, who we didn't think that was funny, but it was all like suicidal jokes. Just like, women, the closest way to my heart is just a knife through the chest, you know, man? And again, like, no punchline, just like, oh, like, should you see someone? Like, is this okay? Like, is this a cry for help? And he won. And I even asked the host afterwards, I'm like, what did you think of him? He's like, I had to give it to him. Like, like, if anything, top 3, like, we had to do something. Cause like, I felt bad. Like, maybe that made his night, but like, yeah, we should have talked to him afterwards. I don't know where he's at or if he's ever going to come back.
Wow. Yeah, and guy. Yeah. Out of pure pity, people are like, "Fuck! If we don't give it to this guy, we'll be the people that killed him."
Right? Because again, like, he got that reaction, like, "Oh no!" Like, no laughs, just like, "Oh no!" Like, you need serious help.
So real quick? Sorry, are you trying to do stand up since you've done 3 times or no?
No. Well, I do it for fun. If I get laughs, I'll keep doing it. If I bomb 40 times in a row, I'll know to hang it up. But, you know, like, I enjoy doing it. I have always loved stand-up comedy. I am a podcast host. I do this. I do play-by-play commentary for sports. That's kind of my thing. I got a journalism degree at school. That's what I wanted to pursue out of school. But now it's like, what else can I do? I just got my insurance license. I could sell insurance. Whatever floats my boat that in the season, you know? But
Gotcha.
yeah, stand-up's fun. I love the atmosphere. I love the different story each room tells. Like, we have stand-up live out here in Phoenix, which is said to be a great room. I've gotten to go into the green room just to interact with people and share stories with other comedians. Like, that's a ball, I think. Just getting different perspectives on lives and how people interpret things, I think, is gold. I love it. But no. Pursuing stand-up, I mean, if people paid me to do it, I'll do it. But like, I'm not going to do 40 shows a week and starve to the point where it's like, if I can't do this, I don't want to be alive. Like, it's not my goal to be a stand-up comedian.
I get you. Yeah, I get you.
How? Because again, like, you're doing it now full time. Like, it's what you want to do. Were there times where like you were starving, like not making any money doing stand-up, thinking like, I got to pull through here? Or did you have other things that you were able to keep financially stable?
For years I just had like day jobs, you know. I worked at Starbucks for years. I worked at the Adidas store in Toronto. And yeah, man, I just work during the day and then do shows at night. That was the whole deal. And when I was at Starbucks, even, I would like just talk to people. My manager told me one time, she was like, if I didn't think you were funny, I'd have to fire you, because she goes, you don't do anything. Right. And I'm like, I do stuff. I do. Like, all of the people I work with, when I walk in, they seem miserable. And then in my head, my whole job is like, I got to keep these people up. You know, I got to make these people laugh, or they're going to fucking sink into their fucking mochas and just kill themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I always had like I had day jobs for years, just random day jobs.
Right. I mean, it's almost like you were comedic relief. To circle back to the Marvel universe, you were comedic relief at these places.
Oh, and let me tell you something. There was people that I guess were me. Okay, so to bring it all the way back to the Marvel universe, there was definitely people who, like me, who hated me because I brought comedic relief. Hated it. There was this one guy who was so like, he was by the book. So they actually, this sounds insane, but my Starbucks, okay, became like, I was that guy that made people laugh. One day, like, corporate people came in and they were mad about it, so they went, okay, we got to like straighten this guy up. This was their real thought. They go, we got to like put him in a boot camp. So they sent me to a Starbucks. They literally sent me to another Starbucks in Toronto, where this guy was by the book, dude. He didn't let anybody fuck around. And I worked there for 2 weeks. That guy was a miserable prick, and I quit. That was my last time at Starbucks, because I was like, you guys aren't gonna I'm not a horse. You're not gonna break me into being one of the people that this isn't a career that I want. Right. And you can make a career out of it, but anyways, yeah. I left after that. That guy sucked. But yeah, you're right. No, that guy hated me. That guy was me. And he looked at me like, fuck you. Oh man, this all came full circle.
I think I have you beat on that though. I had a marketing job that hired me over the summer, like 7 months ago. And the day after I signed the paperwork, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I got some sponsorships here. I'm making enough money here. It was like an all-woman firm too. It's like, I don't think I'm going to fit in here. I don't want to become one of those guys. So I left, literally signed the paperwork, like all the W-4 forms, and then left. So I'm like, I'm not going to buy into this.
So you just did you call anybody? Did you tell anybody? You just never went back?
Yeah. The day of, I'm just like, you know what? Thought it over. Have some other work I got to do over here. But thanks so much for considering me. There's probably like 3 or 4 other people that didn't get the job over me that I completely, screwed over. I feel bad about that. I feel bad about it just saying it out loud. Holy shit.
But, somebody got it then. If you quit that day, they called another person and they go, hey, you got the job. You know what I mean? Nobody was told they didn't get it because you got it. They probably just didn't hear anything. So then they got the call that day and they go, great, I got a job.
Exactly. I hope that's how it turned out. Because it's like, oh, Jack's not coming. We may as well just fold this entire company.
That's funny.
All our marbles.
The entire company.
Yeah. I was going to be the only guy out of 40 employees.
What was the job? You said it was marketing, but what was your exact job? What were you going to be doing?
It was literally just like a desk job at a cubicle, 40 hours a week, paid my bills, just sitting there, making calls, video editing, developing certain, video content for social media, which everybody does today, which is my strong suit, doing this stuff. But I don't think I would have enjoyed it. It would have taken a lot of time. I already live with 4 women as it is right now. I have 4 girl roommates. I didn't want to work with 40 women, I need guy time.
Dude, are you the guy who got 80 blowjobs in a weekend? Is it you?
No.
Were you the one that was pretending?
To bring it full circle? No, not at all. Dude, if I said that and bombed, I would have immediately been like, sorry for wasting your time, put the mic back on the stand and just run out of that place. I think that guy literally got off the stage and then just ran straight to his car. I don't think he stuck
That makes
around.
sense. I've been that guy. Not with that material, but I've absolutely been that guy. Run out of the building and look nobody in the face. Leave, go home, and just fucking stare at a wall. Absolutely.
What was it like getting the call? Because you've done multiple late shows. I know you did Colbert, you did Fallon. At that point, if you bombed there, you kind of have to just sit backstage for a while until Jimmy says, hey, thanks for coming on the show.
I don't know what happened if you fully bombed on one of those, man. I don't think it'd be good. I think you'd hate it. You know what I mean? I think because nobody really talks to you you do those things. Everybody's trying. You're the last thing on the show, so everybody by the time you're done is we're out of here. The second you're done, the host will come over and go, hey, thanks. Hey, check him out here, and then he's gone. They're in a car that's out of here. The cameras are close. People are wrapping shit up the absolute second you're done. But so yeah, I guess you would just leave and just sit, somewhere. But I mean, those are really fun to do, man. I'm happy I got to do the ones I've done so far. It's just a cool it's a cool experience of just putting together that set and then standing backstage, while they go, because it has to go well. That's you'd hope so anyway. But the other, when you're leading up to doing it, you're working on it and stuff, and you go, okay, if it doesn't go well tonight, I'll work on it tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. But there, you're I'm here. So you're in the back, just kind of, I don't know how to just, whatever that feeling would be. Probably the same. Again, it was full circle here. Probably a little bit, not to the same degree by any stretch. But I mean, if you're waiting to walk into a cage to fight a human person, because that's got to go fucking well. Hopefully you've trained, you've done all this stuff to go, God, and these are not the same thing at all. But I'm assuming that there's a little bit of that nervousness and freaking the fuck out and being oh shit, this is that actual thing now that I've prepared for. This is the longest-winded answer in the history. Please, at some point in time, cut me off. Like, serious to God, close the goddamn thing. I'm just mumbling here.
This entire thing was made on storytelling. I love storytelling. You could go on for 4 hours. I won't say a thing, but I will retort eventually.
I guess long story short, to do those things has been cool, man, and I like doing them. They're fun to put together, and being there is a cool experience.
Was there an expectation going into it? Like, not that, you were specifically a huge, like, Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert fan, but, like, that's, like, The Late Show, The Tonight Show, like, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, Jimmy Fallon. Like, is there, like, an expectation for you? Like, if I bomb, there's going to be, like, 4 million views on YouTube the next day that saw me bomb?
No. No, because there definitely has, like, over the last bunch of years, those shows, and it's zero disrespect to it, we already know, but they don't have the same type of like make or break you that they did at one point in time, right? So it would just be miserable if you bombed, man. It's not what you want to do. You'd hate it, and you'd probably never be able to do one of these again. But more the expectation is, I guess, to go in there and do well. You want to have a good set in front of these. Just in general, it's your thing. They give you 5 minutes you own a network for 5 minutes, which is pretty crazy to think about. You know what I mean? Like, you do Conan or whatever. When Conan was on, it's like you have 5 uninterrupted minutes on TBS. What does that even, like? How much would a company charge, or, like, pay for that? You know what I mean? Like, you own anytime somebody goes to this, that's you. So again, I guess long-winded as fuck. The expectation was to go have a good set and to have fun with this whole thing, because it's a cool experience.
Right, and you're the main event of the evening, too. Like, it was closing the show with Nathan Mcintosh on Jimmy Fallon, The Tonight Show. It's like,
yeah,
all right, they waited this long, I'm sending them home.
Yeah, then there's people at home definitely like, well, I already saw that interview with Kathy Bates, so click, and they go, I don't give a fuck who this is. But, yeah, no, those are cool experiences, man. I've had fun doing them.
So to kind of bring this full circle, I don't want to take too much of your time here. You probably got stuff going on in the city tonight as well. Do you?
I do.
He does, so I won't take too much of your time. So, and plus, you're going to give me like a 30-minute answer anyway, so it's like we got.
Oh God, thank you for finally calling me out, dude. It's so much mumbling.
We got to wrap it up, but what's kind of the end game, so to speak, as a comedian? Because, like, you're already doing what you love. You're doing it on a level where people recognize you. You got your channel. You got everything going on. You got gigs constantly coming in. What's kind of your end game? And I guess I will have a follow-up question to this now that I think about it. But, like, what is kind of your main goal?
Lost this. My main goal, legitimately, over the last couple of years, I'm trying to refigure that out with everything that's happened. It's the main goal currently, man. I'm working on a special that I want to put out. Currently, that is the main goal.
Yeah,
I guess I can say that. Long term, like to be able to perform in theaters for people who come to see me. You know, and if that's not necessarily what, like, those are the two goals. There we go. Look how that was a quick answer, man.
Oh, you're done? You're done? Okay.
I'm done, dude.
Okay, then let me sneak in one more question, because again, like, it piqued my brain, because I interviewed him literally months before he unfortunately passed away, and that was Bob Saget. You got a chance to open up for him.
Yeah.
I think we can both agree, like, one of the nicest guys ever. What was your experience with the guy?
I talked about it on my podcast real quick, but the absolute, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, the absolute nicest person I met in comedy, by far. So I'll try to make this as quick as possible. When I go to the show, man, he couldn't be nicer, dude. I'd never met him before I got the opportunity to open for him. He couldn't have been nicer when I got to the theater. He was so gracious and, like, dude, he, like, brought me into his green room, and he just couldn't, like, he was so nice. He kept talking about how lucky he was, which I found really cool. Like, he kept talking about, like, he goes, oh man, this theater's packed. He's like, people are coming out to see me. He's like, I'm really lucky guy, man. And he's like, his girlfriend was with him at the time and she left the room for a second. He goes, man, my girlfriend's beautiful. He's like, I'm a really lucky guy, you know? He talked to his daughter right before the show started. And he comes over to me and he goes, my daughter's the best. He's like, my kids are great. He's like, I'm just a really lucky guy. But he said it, he really meant it. He wasn't saying it just to be, he really meant it, to the point where I'm kind of standing there going, he thanked me a countless amount of times for doing the show. And you just sort of go, buddy, what? You're you. Why would I not do this show? Anyways, long story short, so once I did that show, he was like, hey man, if you want to stay in touch, you know, whatever. And I never did, because a lot of people say that and whatever. But about 6 months later, I'm moving to New York, and I know nobody in New York, and I know absolutely nobody. And I go, wait a minute, I met Bob, shot in the dark here. I'm gonna message him and ask him if he could help maybe point me in the direction of like a manager at a club or somebody that I can kind of talk to in the city. Bob messages me back, which I thought was crazy as is. And he goes, what's your phone number? This man called my phone, dude. And you just kind of go, for how like big he was and how much stuff he had and like who he was as a person, for him to take the time out of his day to call me, a person who is asking a favor of him, cannot help him by any stretch. Dude, that guy, man, easily nicest person I've met in comedy.
Oh my God. I mean, that's an unbelievable story right there, to show you just the humility that the man possessed. Because like I talked to him for maybe like 6 minutes. It was like this meet and greet video, and by the end of it, he's like, you do a podcast? Let's hop on. And he gave me like 30 minutes of his time. I'm like, I'm just like a kid. I was a senior in college at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm nobody. Like, I'm not going to get you any more exposure than you already have, right? Like, you are 100% helping me out as opposed to the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that in its own right, again, like just out of nowhere. I don't think that they ever really truly revealed what happened there. Did they?
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know, and I haven't asked necessarily. I don't know. Just like a crazy thing, man. Really sad. Like just really sad. I'm happy that I got to have any kind of like meet him at all, man. He was, and that story is amazing. Him just being like, "Oh, you do a podcast? Let's do it." God, that's crazy. I'm sure you have friends that won't do your podcast because people are like, no, man, I got to do blah, 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 blah. Like everybody has their own stuff going on. And that's why I say for that guy to call me, you just go, who is, like, my God, that's fucking wild, man.
Are there anybody else like that you've either opened up for or have been in contact with, like bigger names in the industry that have helped you out along the way?
You know what? Short answer, no. But also bigger answer, nobody also, I've also never met, I've met a bunch of like bigger name people, I guess you can say. I've never had a bad experience with them either. You know what I mean? Like I've never had a truly, because you know, you see that every once in a while on a podcast, somebody be like, you'll never guess who's garbage. And then 40 minutes on how they're bad. I've never had that with anybody. And I've been fortunate enough to meet like some pretty cool fucking people, but legitimately top to bottom, Bob Saget was the nicest human man I met in comedy.
Man. Again, like dirty comic Danny Tanner on television. I still can't believe he pulled that off.
Yeah.
So where can we find you? Obviously on social media, but you got shows going on in the city as well. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I post those on my website, nathanmacintosh.com. I guess I post them on Instagram as well. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Nathan Macintosh. I got a YouTube channel, and yeah, man, kind of wherever people see things.
Well, Nathan Macintosh, I think this is the 486th episode that I've done on this podcast, and that come in the bag story might be the tip of the iceberg when it comes to stories. That's unfucking believable.
I'll never forget it ever, man. And I'm going to continue to, every once in a while when I think about it, of like crazy comedy stories, that is the one that I will go to. It's crazy,
Do you ever use
dude.
it? Do you ever tell it in your sets?
No, I've never told it on stage. No, I think I've only told it on. Dude, this might be the only podcast I've ever talked about it on, and it only jumped
I
into my
don't know
head when you
why.
talked about open mics.
Man, that baffles me because that is one hell of a story that I feel like literally all it takes is like, so what was the biggest open mic thing that you ever did, and that should trigger your brain almost instantaneously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, fuck. Maybe now. You know what's funny? Now it'll be the only story I tell on podcasts. That's it. People are like, "What's your name?" I go, "It doesn't matter." So I watched this guy. Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. This was fun, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, I head back to the Jersey, New York area every few months just to visit family. I'd love to see a show if you're in the
Yeah,
area.
hit me up.
I definitely will. And again, like if you big league me, whatever, but I will definitely get a ticket and be like, "Hey, Nathan, remember me?"
That'd be so funny. I tell that whole story, and then I do the exact opposite. I don't even try to help. You hit me up, and I go, "Who is this? What is this?" No. Hit me up.